On our anniversary, I braved the heavy rain to bring food to John Wilson, who had just gotten off surgery. Yet once again, he was nowhere to be found. Out of habit, I opened the social media feed of his department's first love. My boyfriend's charm is off the charts. I mentioned I had a splinter in my finger, and he dropped everything to rush over, personally removing it and bandaging me up. Why is such a great man someone else's boyfriend? In the accompanying photo, John was looking down, carefully using surgical tweezers to extract the nearly invisible wood splinter from her fingertip. Under the light, his profile was focused and gentle. I could no longer deceive myself. Silently, I tossed the lunchbox into the trash and sent him a breakup message. His brother later relayed, "John says you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Women throwing tantrums. And he can win you back by buying a purse later. He will never know that what I wanted was never a purse. But the Alan love I once had. When love fades, he doesn't even have the right to try and win me back anymore." Raindrops pelted the phone screen, blurring it. I stared at the picture in Lily Green's social media feed. John's attentive profile, more captivating than on any operating table. A splinter, an almost invisible splinter, required this surgical attending to abandon everything and sprint over. Couldn't even spare time for our 5th anniversary. I could vividly imagine Lily's pitiful expression, acting coquettishly toward John. And John, my boyfriend who always said don't bother me, I'm busy, must have been beaming with indulgence. The thread in my heart snapped completely at that moment. I tucked the phone back into my pocket, walked to the roadside trash can, and without hesitation flung the still warm insulated lunchbox inside. The aroma of braised pork mixed with the dank smell of rain invaded my nose, making me queasy. For this meal, I had booked a hotel room near his department a week in advance, imagining he could have a hot bite right after surgery. Now, it seemed like the biggest joke. I wiped the rain from my face, pulled out my phone again, tapped the screen a few times, and found John's chat window. Without a single accusation or complaint, I typed just 6 words. "John, let's break up." Then, I switched to airplane mode. The world fell silent. I didn't want to hear any explanations or see a single question mark from him. For 5 years, every time he made an exception for Lily, every time he brushed me off with "she's just a little sister who needs looking after," I chose to believe, not because I was foolish, but because I still loved him and was willing to delude myself for him. But a person's heart can grow cold. Someone feigning sleep will eventually wake if called too often. Back in the hotel room, I peeled off my soaked clothes and stepped into a scalding hot shower. The water streamed over me, yet I felt no warmth at all. I studied my disheveled reflection in the mirror and suddenly laughed. Ivy Peter. Oh, Ivy Peter. You've turned yourself into a joke. You thought you were his safe harbor. But really, you were just a dock he occasionally moored at after long journeys. And Lily, she was the ocean in his heart. I started packing. There wasn't much to gather anyway, apart from a few changes of clothes. Everything here belonged to the hotel. I removed all the things had given meth necklace he bought with his first paycheck, the couple's bracelet we'd chosen together, and arranged them neatly on the nightstand. I turned on my phone and disabled airplane mode. Several unread messages instantly flooded the screen. All from John. "What's wrong now? I'm busy. Quit bothering me. Ivy. Answer the call. What do you mean? Explain yourself clearly." Seeing those icy words, I didn't even feel like replying. He didn't think he was wrong. He just thought I was making a fuss. I opened the smart lock app on my phone, found the guest password settings, and created a 24-hour temporary password, along with my breakup message. I sent it to him again. "I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. to pack my things." Erase the temporary password. We're over. After doing all this, I blocked all his contact methods: WeChat, phone number, everything. I was afraid that if I looked at it any longer, I'd soften. And this time, I didn't want to give myself any way out. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling with my eyes open. Sleepless all night. Tomorrow would be a new day. A day without John Wilson. The next day at 9:50 a.m. I arrived punctually at the door of my home. Our former home. Instead of using my fingerprint, I entered the temporary password. The door opened, and in the entryway, John Wilson's dress shoes were carelessly thrown on the floor, next to the slippers I had neatly placed for him. Everything seemed the same as when I left, yet somehow completely different. No one was in the living room. The bedroom door was tightly shut. I didn't want to encounter him. I just wanted to take my things and quickly leave this suffocating place. I dragged several large suitcases out of the storage room and began silently packing. My clothes, my books, my cosmetics. Everything that bore my mark. I stuffed into the boxes without missing a single item. Just as I was halfway through, the bedroom door opened. John came out wearing pajamas, his hair a mess. He saw the open suitcases spread out in the living room and me crouched on the floor, head down, organizing things. His face immediately darkened. Ivy, Peter, what are you doing? I didn't look up, continuing to stuff a pile of books into a box. My voice was calm, as if talking about something unrelated to me. Moving. We've broken up. I notified you. John strode over, snatched the book from my hand, and threw it on the ground. Notice. Ivy. You just say break up unilaterally and that counts as notice. Did I agree? His voice was hoarse from just waking up and filled with uncontrollable anger. I finally looked up, meeting his gaze directly. His eyes were bloodshot, stubble sprouting on his chin. He looked exhausted, but in my heart, there was not a single ripple, not even a trace of pity. John, in not asking for your consent, this is an established fact. Fact. He seemed to have heard the biggest joke. Just because I didn't spend our anniversary with you. Ivy, when did you become so unreasonable? How many times have I told you? I'm busy with work. One surgery after another. It's not that I don't want to spend time with you. I genuinely don't have the time. Time is like water in a sponge. If you squeeze it, there's always some. I picked up the book from the floor, patted off the dust. You're not short on time. You just don't have time for me. You have time to pick an invisible splinter for Lily Green. He froze, the anger on his face instantly replaced by shock and guilt. How do you know? If you don't want people to know, don't do it. John. The first have no interest in playing detective. But Miss Lily loves announcing everything to the world on social media. It's hard not to know. I zipped up one suitcase and stood it up. Yesterday was our 5th anniversary. I made your favorite braised pork and waited in the rain outside the hospital for an hour. And you. Tenderly and attentively treating an enormous wound for your first love. John, do you think that's appropriate? His expression shifted repeatedly, from guilt to remorse, and finally to shame and anger. Over such a small thing. Ivy, is it really worth it? Lily Green is alone in South City. Helpless and a bit scatterbrained. As her senior. What's wrong with me taking care of her? She got her hand pricked. Who else could she turn to besides me? A doctor. Could you please stop being so petty? Petty. I laughed bitterly. John Wilson. Search your conscience. Is this the first time in 5 years? When she had a stomachache in the middle of the night, you drove across the entire city to deliver medicine. When her computer broke, you ditched dinner with my parents to fix it for her. When she said she wanted to see a concert, you queued all night to get tickets for her, then told me you had to work that day. Every time, you said she was like a sister, called me petty, said I was unreasonable. Fine. Before I was petty. I was unreasonable. Now I don't want to anymore. I'll let you two be together. I'm giving your time, your person, completely back to her. Isn't that good? Every word I said felt like a hammer pounding on his heart. He opened his mouth but couldn't utter a single rebuttal. Those were all things he had done. Things he thought I didn't know or didn't care about. I He looked at me, his tone softening, reaching out to grab my hand. Ivy. I admit. I did some things wrong. I ignored your feelings. Don't be angry anymore. Let's talk this out. Okay. Stop threatening to break up over every little thing. I dodged his hand, took a step back, widening the distance between us. John, do you know what's the most ridiculous part? It's that you still think I'm just angry. You think it's like before, where I throw a tantrum. You sweet-talk me, buy a gift, say a few nice things, and it's all forgotten. I shook my head, staring at this man I'd loved for 5 years. Suddenly seeing a stranger. This time it's different. I'm not angry. I'm heartbroken. I'm tired. I don't want to guess if your surgeries are real or fake anymore, or see from other people's social media feeds how super knightly you were today. I'm letting you go. And letting myself go too. After saying that, I didn't look at him again, dragging the packed suitcase toward the door. Ivy Peter. He grabbed my wrist from behind with terrifying force. If you dare step out that door today, it's really over between us. I didn't turn back, just said coldly. We were over yesterday. I yanked my hand free, opened the door, and walked out without looking back. Behind me, his furious roar echoed. But I didn't pause for a second. As the elevator doors closed, I saw him still standing in the doorway. Looking stunned, I dragged 3 heavy suitcases to the entrance of the apartment complex and hailed a moving van. The driver helped me load the suitcases and asked where I was headed. I gave the address of a short-term rental apartment I'd already scoped out. The van started moving, and I watched the scenery outside the window blur past. The complex I'd lived in for 5 years slowly shrank in my view until it vanished. I didn't cry, just felt a huge void in my chest. At the new Placia 40 square meter 1-bedroom. Small but clean and tidy, I unpacked the suitcases one by one, arranging everything neatly. While doing this, my mind was blank. Like an emotionless robot. Only after everything was in place and I collapsed on the sofa did exhaustion and sorrow wash over me like a tide. My phone rang an unfamiliar number. I hesitated but answered. A familiar, grating voice came through. Hello, Ivy. This is Jack Lee. Jack Lee. John's best friend and one of the witnesses to our relationship. What is it? My voice was icy. Jack Lee chuckled awkwardly on the other end. So, Ivy, what exactly happened between you and John? He called me today, like he'd lost his soul. Isn't it just a fight between you two? Why make such a big deal out of it? Jack Lee, it's not a fight. We broke up, I said, enunciating each word clearly. Broke up. Don't joke around. Jack's tone was full of disbelief. John Wilson told me all about it. It's just that he didn't spend the anniversary with you. He said he knows he was wrong and told you not to make a fuss. He also said you're just making a big deal out of nothing. Women. It's normal to throw a little tantrum now and then. He'll buy you the latest designer bag later. And that'll settle it. Want it? Buy a bag. Hearing this, I almost laughed out loud. So in their eyes, my heartbreak, my disappointment, my resolve, it was all just making a big deal out of nothing. Something a single bag could fix. All my emotions, in their view, were that cheap? Jack, help me pass a message to him. My voice was as cold as ice. Tell him that what I've always wanted isn't a bag. It's my all-or-nothing love and exclusive affection. He can't give that. But Lily Green can. As for trying to appease me, once my love has faded, he doesn't even have the right to try. Hey, Ivy Peter, how can you talk like that? I didn't wait for him to finish. I hung up the phone directly. Then, I opened the food delivery app and ordered myself a spicy hot pot with double the spice. I wanted to use that intense flavor to cover up the bitterness in my heart. After eating, I got a call from my mom. My heart sank instantly, knowing John must have already told on me. Ivy. What's going on with you and John? He called me today, almost crying in panic. saying you broke up with him and moved out. Weren't you two doing fine? My mom's voice was full of concern. Mom, we broke up. Broke up. Why? Did John do something wrong to upset you? Tell Mom. And I'll scold him for you. Young couples living together always hit rough patches. Just talk it out and it'll be fine. Don't go throwing around breakups so easily it hurts the relationship. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice calm. Mom. It's not a fight. It's that he doesn't have me in his heart anymore. This life. I can't go on with it. Nonsense. John is so good to you. Our whole family sees it. His job is excellent. He's driven. And he's filial to your parents too. Don't be foolish. Hurry back and move in with him. And apologize properly. Apologize. Why should I apologize? Suddenly, I felt a wave of helplessness. So in everyone's eyes, I was the one in the wrong. It was me being immature. Me making a big deal out of nothing. Me being unreasonable. John's excellence had become the reason I could be casually dismissed. Mom, don't worry about this. I know my limits. I didn't want to explain anymore because I knew it was useless. Why are you so stubborn, child? My mom flared up on the other end of the line. Just then, my doorbell rang. Peering through the peephole, my heart skipped a beat. It was John Wilson. He actually found this place. How did he know I lived here? I suddenly remembered that the agent for this short-term rental apartment was a friend we both knew. I didn't open the door or make a sound. Just stood behind it, listening to the commotion outside. The doorbell rang persistently, one chime after another. As if it would shatter my eardrums. Ivy Peter, open the door. I know you're in there. Let's talk. John's voice came through the door, tinged with impatience and irritation. Talk. What was there left to talk about? Repeat what was said yesterday, the day before, and the day before that. I leaned against the door, closed my eyes, feeling like the whole world was spinning. Ivy, if you don't open up, I'll kick it down. His voice rose, carrying a clear threat. I laughed bitterly at his words. So this was his idea of talking. I pulled the door open and stared at him coldly. He stood at the doorway, his hair messier than this morning, the redness in his eyes more pronounced. Seeing me, he seemed to relax and reached out to grab me. Let's go inside to talk. I sidestepped, blocking the entrance, with no intention of letting him in. We'll talk right here. There's nothing I need to say to you inside. Once you're done, please leave immediately. My aloofness and distance infuriated him. The slight softening on his face vanished, replaced by offended anger. Ivy, do you have to be like this? I've humbled myself to come find you. What more do you want? Over a small thing. You want to ruin our 5-year relationship. The one who ruined our relationship isn't me. It's you, John, the first said, looking at him word by word. When you kept running to Lily Green time after time, you destroyed our bond with your own hands. You humbled yourself. That's not humbling yourself. That's unwillingness to let go. You can't stand that this backup who always cleaned up your messes and unconditionally tolerated you suddenly slipped out of your control. Backup. Is that how you see me in your heart? He looked as if he'd heard something unbelievable. His face full of hurt. I watched his act, feeling numb inside. Isn't it, John? Do you dare say you love me? What you love is the version of me who obeyed you unquestioningly, treated you like the sky, allowed you to be Lily's hero outside without restraint, and still gave you a warm home when you returned. You don't love Ivy the person. You love the functions I provided. My words cut him like a knife, leaving him speechless. He stared at me, his lips trembling for a while before he managed to squeeze out. I didn't. Ivy. In my heart. You and she are different. Yes. Different. I nodded. I'm the girlfriend you mentioned by name. She's the unforgettable love you cherish in your heart. I am food. She is medicine. Food must be eaten every day. But too much of it becomes tiresome. Medicine shouldn't be taken casually. But without it, Life is at stake. John Wilson. I don't want to be your food anymore. I want to live like a human too. Just as we were locked in a standoff, John's phone rang at the worst possible moment. He instinctively pulled it out. And when the screen lit up, I saw the caller ID clearly. Lily. That affectionate name felt like a red-hot needle, stabbing sharply into my eyes. John froze, phone in hand, unsure whether to answer or hang up, his expression utterly awkward. I suddenly laughed, laughing so hard tears nearly streamed down. You see, your medicine is calling. Probably she's uncomfortable again or needs you. Her Superman. To save her. Hurry up and go. Don't keep her waiting. After all, she's so helpless and scatterbrained. What would she do without you? I deliberately emphasized those adjectives. John's face flushed red, then pale. He looked at the phone, then at me, his eyes filled with conflict. Why aren't you answering? I challenged him. Afraid he'll hear. Or afraid she'll find out you're tangled up with your overreacting ex-girlfriend right now. Ivy Peter, don't be unreasonable. He finally snapped, shouting at me, then pressed the answer button while covering the microphone and muttered into the phone. I'm busy right now. I'll call you later. He hung up quickly, and when he looked back at me, his eyes were full of exhaustion and disappointment. Do you have to push things this far? You weren't like this before. Yes, I wasn't like this before, I said calmly. The old Ivy, when you took a call like that, would politely walk away, pretend she saw nothing, and even make excuses for you. But that Ivy died in yesterday's downpour. Standing before you is a brand new Ivy, an Ivy who no longer wants to compromise herself or live for you. John, it's over between us. Go, and don't come looking for me anymore. I finished, giving him no chance to respond, and slammed the door shut, locking it securely. Outside, John pounded on the door frantically, yelling my name. I leaned against it, slowly sliding down to sit on the floor, burying my head in my knees. This time, I finally cried, not from sadness, but to hold a belated farewell for that dead self. The pounding and shouting outside lasted a long time before gradually fading away until it vanished completely. I didn't know when John left. I just sat on the cold floor, letting tears flow unchecked. When I finally cried myself out and stood up, my legs were numb and lifeless. Limping to the window, I pulled back a corner of the curtain. John's car was gone from downstairs. He was gone. That realization brought a sigh of relief, followed by a deeper emptiness. 5 years of relationship had ended in the most humiliating way. Over the next few days, I severed all ties to the past. I changed my phone number, snapping the old SIM card in half and tossing it into the trash. I left every group chat connected to John and deleted all mutual friends' contact info. I knew it was extreme, but for me, it was a necessary clean break. I needed a completely fresh start to rebuild my life. I began job hunting. After graduation, I'd chosen a low-stress but poorly paid administrative role to better support John's life. Now, I decided to return to my true calling: interior design. I updated my resume, organized my college portfolio, and started applying online. Life became busy and fulfilling. During the day, I rushed between interviews. At night, I returned to that small apartment, turned on the computer, studied the latest design cases, and learned new software. I had no time to think about John Wilson, nor time to grieve. Busyness is the cure for everything. And this saying is absolutely true. A week later, I received an interview notice from a well-known design company in the city. The interviewer was a woman who looked very capable, named Susan Taylor. She carefully reviewed my portfolio and asked several very professional questions. I was a bit nervous, but I did my best to showcase my ideas and abilities. At the end of the interview, Susan looked at me and said, "Ivy Peter, your fundamentals are solid, and your ideas are very creative. But you haven't been involved in this industry for several years, and we need to see your determination and potential." Our company happens to have a project with high and urgent client demands. We want to give you an opportunity to participate as an intern designer. If you can prove yourself in this project, we will formally hire you. Are you willing? This was a challenge and an opportunity. I almost didn't hesitate and agreed. I am willing. Thank you, Susan. I will not let you down. Walking out of the company's door, the sun was just right. I took a deep breath and felt like I had come alive again. I found a new goal. A new direction. My life was no longer revolving around a man. To celebrate, I went to the largest mall in the city center. I didn't look at those bags, but went straight to a branded computer store. With the savings from these years, I bought myself a top configuration professional design computer. When I swiped the card, I felt an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. Jack Lee said that John wanted to buy me a bag to appease me. But today I realized that earning money by myself and buying what I need is 10,000 times happier than waiting for someone to give me a bag. Holding the brand new computer. As I walked out of the mall, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I thought it was an interview notice from some company. So I answered. Hello. Hello. There was silence on the other end for a few seconds. Then came a voice I didn't expect. Ivy. It's me. It was Lily Green. The moment I heard Lily's voice, my heart sank. How did she get my new number? Then I realized. In this information age, as long as one is determined, it's not hard to find someone's contact information. What's up? My voice carried no emotion. Lily on the other end let out a light laugh. With a victorious tone. Nothing much. Just wanted to chat with you. I heard you broke up with John and moved out. Your news is quite timely. I responded flatly. Of course. After all, I'm with John every day. Her words were full of bragging. Ivy, I actually admire you for enduring for so many years. You know, 5 years ago, John confessed to me, and at that time, we were the recognized couple. I tightened my grip on the phone. I had heard a bit about this. It was said that Lily rejected John Wilson back then and chose to go abroad with a wealthy heir. Later, it seemed she didn't do well abroad and came back, and I was the one who entered his life during John Wilson's most despondent period. So what are you trying to prove by telling me this now? To prove that the person he loves most is you, and I'm just a substitute. I sneered. Congratulations. You've proven it. Now he's yours. And you're calling me to ask me to wrap a red envelope to celebrate. My retort choked her up. She didn't seem to expect this reaction from me. She paused, her tone turning aggrieved. Ivy Peter, how can you say that about me? That's not what I meant. I just think, since we're both women, I don't want you to misunderstand me. Between me and John Wilson, it's always been innocent. His kindness to me is just out of a senior's care for a junior. Innocent. I was almost laughing in anger at her hypocritical act. Lily Green, you had him deliver stomach medicine to you in the middle of the night, made him your chauffeur on weekends, and on anniversaries made him ditch his real girlfriend to pick a gift for you. Do you call that innocent? Your social media posts. Every word implies how much he loves you. That's not innocent. It's green. The green of a fake tea. You can fool John. But you can't fool me. We're both women. I see right through your little schemes. The other end of the phone fell completely silent. I could imagine her expression at that moment. It must have been priceless. I don't have time for your nonsense. I didn't want to tangle with her anymore. If you like John, go after him. He's single now. You two make a perfect pair. Don't bother me again. I wish you a forever together. Locked in. And I've thrown the key into the sea. With that, I hung up directly. Then added her number to the blacklist. The best way to deal with fake people is to be more direct than them and not play by their rules. Playing mind games with them will only get you tangled up. After handling this little episode, one took a taxi back to my apartment. A new computer. A new job. A new life. Everything was moving in a good direction. I set up the computer and installed all the necessary design software. Susan Taylor soon sent me the project materials. It was a design case for a high-end private villa. The client was a highly successful individual with extremely high demands on quality of life. In the following days, I was almost busy non-stop. During the day at the company, I followed mentors to learn and understood project requirements. At night at home, I researched, sketched drafts, and made models. I was like a dried sponge, crazily absorbing knowledge. Although physically exhausted, I was mentally exceptionally satisfied. The project progressed smoothly, and several of my proposals received preliminary approval from Susan and the client. Susan began to look at me with new respect and started assigning me more important tasks. I knew that becoming a permanent employee wasn't far off. That afternoon, while our team was in a project meeting, my phone vibrated. I picked it up and glanced. It was a text from an unknown number. Ivy, can we meet? I'm waiting for you at the cafe downstairs from your company. John. He actually found my company. I looked at the text, feeling mixed emotions. It had been almost a month since we broke up. I thought he had given up. Susan noticed my expression was off and asked concernedly, "What's wrong?" "Not feeling well." I shook my head. Put away my phone. "It's nothing." "Susan, let's continue." The meeting ended, and it was almost time to get off work. Colleagues left in twos and threes. I sat at my workstation, gazing at the city outside as the lights began to glow in the evening, hesitating whether to go down and see him. Reason told me I shouldn't go. We were already over, and meeting again served no purpose. But emotionally, I felt a flicker of curiosity. I wanted to know what he had become after a month apart. What did he want to say by coming to find me? In the end, I picked up my bag and stepped into the elevator. Perhaps I needed a formal farewell to truly close the chapter on our 5-year relationship. The cafe wasn't crowded, and the lighting was dim. I spotted John Wilson sitting in the corner at a glance. He had lost a lot of weight, with deep-set eyes, looking haggard and defeated, completely different from the vibrant, spirited man I remembered. The coffee in front of him remained untouched as he stared blankly out the window. Only when I sat down across from him did he snap out of it. Seeing me, a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes, but it quickly faded. "You came," he said, his voice hoarse. "What did you want to see me about?" I got straight to the point, not wanting to waste time. He rubbed his hands nervously, looking uneasy. I wanted to apologize to you, Ivy. I'm sorry. I was a jerk before. I always thought you'd be there waiting for me forever. So I recklessly took your feelings for granted. It wasn't until you really left that I realized what I'd lost. I listened quietly without saying a word. If Head said these things a month ago, I might have cried my eyes out in emotion. But now, my heart was calm. "I've made things clear with Lily Green," he explained urgently, looking at me. "After you shut the door that day, I stood alone in the hallway for a long time. I thought about a lot. I remembered when we first got together, how you ate street food with me and squeezed onto the subway with me. Back then, I had nothing, but you never looked down on me. It was me. I ruined everything. Later, I went to find Lily Green and told her I loved you, and that we shouldn't contact each other anymore. She reacted intensely." He gave a bitter smile. "She called me stupid, saying you weren't good enough for me. That's when I saw clearly that she wasn't the innocent, kind girl I thought she was. I was blind before." I picked up the lemon water the server brought and took a sip. "So what? You saw her true colors and decided I'm better. So you want to come back to me?" My directness caught him off guard. "That's not what I meant. I just wanted to tell you I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Ivy, give me another chance. Okay, let's start over. I promise. From now on, my phone will be on for you 247. All my time is yours. And I'll never let you suffer any injustice again." He reached out to take my hand. I pulled my hand back. John, it's too late, I said seriously, looking at him like a shattered vase. Even if you glue it back with the best adhesive, the cracks will always be there. I don't want to live another day worrying if the vase will break again. Anne. I paused before continuing. I'm doing well now. I have my favorite job and new goals. I found that without you, my world didn't collapse. Instead, it became broader. I've gotten used to living alone and am really enjoying this state. His hand froze in midair, the hope on his face gradually fading, turning into despair. So, you're not giving me any chance at all. It's not that I'm not giving you a chance. It's that I don't want to give myself another opportunity to repeat the same mistake. I stood up. John Wilson. Thank you for telling me this today. At least it lets me know that my efforts over the past 5 years weren't entirely a joke. Take care of yourself. I turned to leave. Ivy Peter. He suddenly stood up and called out to me. Are you seeing someone new? I stopped but didn't turn back. What does that have to do with you? Tell me. His voice trembled slightly. I was silent for a few seconds, then said, yes. He treats me very well. 1,000,000 times better than you ever did. I lied. But I knew this was the best way to make him give up completely. Behind me, there was silence for a long time. I didn't look back and walked straight out of the cafe. The night breeze outside was exceptionally cool. I took deep breaths of the fresh air, feeling a lightness I'd never experienced before. John, goodbye. My turbulent 5 years of youth. Goodbye too. After leaving the cafe, I didn't head straight home but wandered aimlessly along the street. This meeting with John felt like tossing a stone into my heart. It didn't cause huge waves, but the ripples still stirred my emotions a bit. He said he saw through Lily Green. He said he knew he was wrong. Do I believe it? Maybe. Maybe not. But that's not important anymore. What matters is I no longer love him. When love disappears, right and wrong lose their meaning. As I walked, I reached a pedestrian bridge. I leaned on the railing, watching the endless stream of cars below like a river. The city's neon lights flickering like countless flowing stars. My phone rang. It was Susan Taylor calling. Ivy, where are you? There's a small issue with the proposal. The client has some new ideas. Can you come to the office now? Our whole team is here. Susan's tone was a bit urgent. Okay, I'll be right there. My spirits lifted immediately. Work matters quickly pulled me out of my tangled thoughts. I took a cab back to the company. The office was brightly lit, with project team members gathered around the conference table. The atmosphere a bit tense. The client thinks our design for the second-floor study is too conventional and wants a more creative, functional space, Susan said, pulling me over as soon as she saw me. You have lots of ideas. See what you can come up with. I looked at the design plans. The client's request was to integrate a multifunctional space in the study for tea tasting, meditation, and professional work needs. This was indeed challenging. My mind raced various design cases I'd seen in college. New materials and techniques I'd researched recently colliding in my thoughts. I picked up a pen and sketched rapidly on the draft. We could use a retractable platform to divide the area. Usually, the platform lowers to be level with the floor, creating an open study. When tea tasting or meditation is needed, the platform rises to form a separate Japanese-style tatami space. The walls can be made of sound-absorbing materials to ensure quiet. The bookshelf can be built in, integrating with the wall to save space. I said as I sketched. My thoughts became clearer, and inspiration kept flowing. My colleagues all gathered around to watch, and Susan Taylor's eyes grew brighter. When I finished the last stroke and looked up, I found everyone looking at me with admiring eyes. This idea is amazing. A colleague couldn't help but exclaim. It solves all the problems and is very design-oriented. Susan patted my shoulder firmly. Ivy Peter, you're really something. Follow this approach. Work overnight to create the renderings, and send them to the client first thing tomorrow morning. Okay. I nodded heavily. At that moment, a huge sense of accomplishment and satisfaction filled my heart. This feeling was something I had never experienced in the past 5 years. Relying on my professional skills to solve problems and gain recognition. This joy is more real and lasting than receiving any gift. That night, our whole team stayed to work overtime. We ordered takeout together, discussed the plan together. In a warm and harmonious atmosphere, I immersed myself in the work, completely forgetting about time and John Wilson. Until 3 a.m. We finally created renderings that satisfied everyone. Susan announced on the spot. Once this project wraps up smoothly, you'll be promoted to full-time with double the salary. My colleagues all cheered for me. I smiled, but my eyes were a bit moist. It turns out that when I pour all my energy and love into myself, life really rewards me with unexpected surprises. When I walked out of the company building, the sky was already turning pale at dawn. I yawned and hailed a taxi, leaning against the car window, watching the city about to wake up. I suddenly remembered the lunchbox I threw away by the trash bin on the day of the breakup. Once, I thought that happiness in life was making braised pork for the one I love. Now I understand that true happiness is building a shining world for myself with my own hands. The project went very smoothly. My multifunctional study design plan received high praise from the client. He also said me, the intern designer. In later communications, he specifically asked for me to be responsible for the design development of several important spaces. With Susan and my colleagues' help, I handled the pressure and completed the task excellently. At the celebration party after the project ended, Susan announced in front of everyone that I was promoted to full-time and appointed as an independent designer. This means that I can independently handle projects in the future. Holding a wine glass, I toasted with each colleague. Their blessings and recognition made me feel that the hard work of the past month was worth it. After the celebration party, Susan called out to me, Client William King admires you a lot. He has a private cocktail party next week, inviting some industry insiders, and he specifically asked me to bring you along so you can network more, which will benefit your future growth. Thank you, Susan. I will definitely go. My heart was full of gratitude. Susan is my mentor. She gave me a platform and helped me rediscover myself. On the day of the party, I specially chose a decent dress and applied delicate light makeup. When I walked into the venue, I was still startled by the scene before me. Here gathered most of the elites from the southern city's design industry and business circles. I followed behind Susan, trying to appear calm and composed. William King saw us and came forward with a smile. Susan, you finally came. Is this Ivy Peter? Indeed. You're young and talented. I modestly smiled and said, Mr. William King, you flatter me. I still have a lot to learn. Just as I was speaking, an unexpected person appeared in my sight. John Wilson. He was wearing a sharp suit, his hair neatly combed, holding a wine glass and chatting with a few people. He seemed to have seen me too. His body visibly stiffened. How could we meet here? I quickly figured it out. It's normal for a high-level banquet like this to invite experts and professors from major hospitals. I swiftly averted my gaze, pretending not to see him, and continued talking with William and the others. Susan Taylor introduced me to several seniors in the design industry, and I listened attentively to their conversation, trying to absorb useful information. After a while, Susan was pulled away by an old friend to catch up. Alone, holding a glass of juice, I found a quiet corner to stay. I didn't want to have any interaction with John, but against my wishes, he still walked towards me, holding his glass. What a coincidence. You're here too. He spoke first. Not a coincidence. I was invited. I responded flatly. He looked at me, his expression complex. You've changed a lot. More confident than before. And more dazzling. People always have to move forward. I didn't want to say more. That The boyfriend you mentioned last time. Isn't he accompanying you today? He finally asked. Just as I was about to make up an excuse, a gentle voice suddenly sounded beside me. Her boyfriend is right here. He just went to take a call. I turned around in surprise and saw William standing next to me at some point. He winked at me, then looked at John with a smile. And this is... John's face instantly turned ugly. He looked at William, then at me. His lips moved but no words came out. William reached out, put his arm around my shoulder, intimate yet maintaining a gentlemanly distance. Am I this boyfriend? William. And you are. John's face turned completely pale. He probably didn't expect that my so-called boyfriend was actually the client of this project. A prominent figure in South City. He stared at us blankly, his eyes filled with shock, resentment, and utter defeat. I am her ex-boyfriend. He struggled to say. William raised an eyebrow, revealing a meaningful smile. Oh, ex-boyfriend. Well, thank you for not cherishing her back then, giving me this opportunity. From now on, my girlfriend doesn't need your concern. After saying that, William no longer looked at him, lowered his head, and said gently to me, let's go. I'll introduce you to some friends. I nodded and followed him as we turned to leave. I didn't look back, but I could feel John's gaze piercing my back like needles. When we reached the other end of the venue, I whispered to William, William, thank you for earlier. William smiled and let go of my hand. It was nothing. I could tell you didn't want to be bothered by him. An excellent girl should not be bound by the past. He paused, then added, however, what I said just now wasn't entirely false. Ivy Peter. I truly admire you. I wonder if I have a chance to go from being a pretend boyfriend to a real boyfriend. I looked into his sincere eyes and was stunned. My heart, after being silent for so long, suddenly skipped a beat uncontrollably. I smiled. Not a polite, distant smile, but a genuine, relaxed, and bright smile from the heart. Perhaps we can start by having a meal together. Life always closes a door for you when you least expect it, and opens a window for you. And love, as long as you are willing to believe, it is always there, waiting for you in a better way.